What's going on, guys? I want to talk about fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Probably three of the greatest mind games that the world uses to influence your predictive behavior. This video today will be a little impromptu, a little extemporaneous, and I'll try to speak above the road noise. But what I have discovered is humanity as a whole, like the everyday average family, no matter their ethnicity, they are overall genuinely good people. They live in an incubus that is surrounded and protected by a family structure that promotes overall, I'm speaking in broad strokes today, they live in a moral construct, meaning that their agenda in life is not bent or contrived by evil intentions. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you fall on. Now, every once in a while, we'll get a crazy Karen or a demonic mind control MK Ultra, think MK Ultra subject that has been programmed by Big Pharma. And in society, you have, that percentage group, whatever it is, 1%, 0.5%, I don't know what the math is, but I know there's some crazy people out there. So I'm not talking about the crazies, the mentally deranged, the psychotic, or somebody who is just, they got a bad heart, right? They just have a bad heart. And I don't mean medically speaking. But overall, I would say your average family, and regardless of the culture, I've met families in all cultures, all socioeconomic and religious backgrounds. Hindus, Muslims. I've met some Jews in my life. I've met Catholics, Hispanics, Russian, Ukrainian, Yugoslavian, when there was a country called Yugoslavia. I mean, I've met every type of society you can think of. And overall, they all walk in the same mentality, and that is they want to provide for their family. They want to make good by their children, by their spouses, and they color inside the lines. That's what I'm trying to say. And yes, we're going to have fringe movements within society. I'm not talking about the Ted Bundy type. But I'm talking about, as a whole, slice up the general population of the world. And for the most part, humanity wants to do the right thing. Now, where am I going with this conversation as I bring up the subject matter and the ammunition and the artillery that the elite, the globalist, the brain trippers, these people that are just cut out of a different fray. Typically, they're going to be in positions of power, influence, money, control, and oftentimes they land in politics. It's absolutely amazing how many people that are in politics that just hate people. They got a rotten soul. That's who I'm talking about. They're just evil. And I know we have a hard time defining what that means, but I guess the simplest way for me to describe what I'm trying to talk about today as I guide you in a wisdom lesson that they are only considered themselves. They put themselves above other people. They promote themselves, and yet while they masquerade around in using the right speech to convince you that they care about you, oftentimes they will promote right speech, their narrative, their talking points. They'll either gaslighting you or they're trying to, use cultural appropriations. Like the time that Nancy Pelosi was bent down on one knee after the George Floyd, that whole thing. Elizabeth Warren comes to mind. She's really good at playing that I care about you game. I don't want to categorize all Democrats as evil or self-destructive or only care about themselves, because there are a lot of Republicans that operate in the same category. It's just I think they're better at camouflaging it. And unfortunately for the average person who's got a moderate IQ, they're working 2 jobs, they got a mortgage and a car payment, and they've got their children in school, and they're just trying to make ends meet. And they're dependent upon programming, messaging. And if you pay attention to not only mainstream media, but a lot of alternative media platforms today, they've been taken over as well. Absolutely. I would say the majority of alternative media platforms, particularly if they're news platforms, there's a good chance that they're being influenced by either big tech, big pharma, Israel, the CIA. Everything is a COINTEL-op. Everything. And I would tell you right now, probably the best thing that you could do in 2026 is to begin focusing your psyche, your mental strength, your overall general health on avoiding fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That is a mass manipulation tool that is used to subjugate society. You can study every single movement throughout history, all the way back to the Dark Ages. And the counter narrative is always, we have to take care of you. We have to do this for your own good. So I'm very careful that I don't surround myself with people that live in that mentality and they operate in a universe of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I don't like negativity. I don't like negative people. And I can tell you right now, the volume is being turned up categorically across the board, across the geopolitical spectrum. You have in life what's called a placebo effect. And we all know what a placebo effect is, and that is, it's a saline solution that they give you when they're running a drug test. And you're part of that test group, but you're isolated and you're not given the drug, you're given saline, which the mind tells the body that, hey, I've received something that's supposed to make me feel better. It's supposed to heal me, whatever that may be. And through that psychosis, your mind tells your body how to behave. I think we're all very familiar with the placebo effect. Well, there's another psychological manipulation that takes place in society, and it's called the nocebo effect. The nocebo effect is reinforced by negative information, not a positive influence in your life, but by a negative influence. They are bombarding you constantly with fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And I want you to run a little scientific experiment for yourself here in the next few days. Come back and answer in the comments and tell me if you don't pick this up. But I want you to pay attention to the programming, wherever it's coming from, whether it's coming from the local news, whether it's coming from a movie, a television show, a commercial, wherever you get information. And I want you to throw up those three predicators: fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And I want you to receive the overall vibe of what it is that this information is trying to program into your brain. Now, I don't want to spin this video into a conversation that through, maybe Norman Vincent Peale mentality that the power of positive thinking, you're going to be able to, overcome any circumstance. I do believe that God gives you liberty and strength when you focus on positive. When you focus on a positive outlook in life, I do believe that it does affect your mental health. I can tell you that diet, exercise, proper nutrition will cure depression. I can tell you that. Not from a medical or scientific standpoint, but from my own experiences in life. Everybody's going to have a blue Monday. Everybody's going to go through pain and suffering and the loss of life or a loved one, and it's going to put you in the dump for a long time. But through proper nutrition, exercise, and being around positive events in your life and getting rid of the negativity. And I don't mean living in denial and moving into a hippie commune and just surrounding yourself in a field of daisies. I'm not talking about, smoking happy stuff. But I am talking about focusing on using those filters to eradicate that nocebo effect that the mainstream media, politicians, and the overall general messaging that's being pumped into the internet and the airwaves, that it's bad. It's just really, really bad. Everything is really bad. I mean, you can look at every single commercial on TV right now. Take your average life insurance commercial, medical condition. They use scare tactics, humility, and when I mean humility, humiliation. There's always somebody who's an idiot in the commercial, and so they try to talk above your intelligent level, and it's just propaganda, guys. And I can tell you right now that your initial critical spirit, your reaction to any information that you're receiving in your life right now, whether it's your college professor, your Boy Scout troop leader, whoever is in your life, whoever is influencing you, whoever is mentoring you, who is ever trying to gain control over your mind, pay attention to those predicators: fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And you're going to find yourself picking up on this common thread throughout all venues of information that you receive. And as soon as you're able to create that force field of where you don't allow that negativity to come into your life and affect your decision making, because we are so easily manipulated and capitulated into reality. I go back to COVID as my greatest example. Probably the greatest psychological experiment ever cast on the global population was the COVID narrative, right? And you have to swim upstream. I'm just telling you right now, guys. In life, you are going to have to swim upstream if you're going to make it. You cannot go with the flow. You need to counter every piece of information that is being presented to you, regardless of the source. I'll go a step further in this message. You don't even need to listen to me. You need to take everything that I say on this channel, we the people, and you need to do your own homework. You need to do your own research. Use your brain. And then also come to your own inner knowing. Pray about it. Much of the knowledge and the revelation and the intuition that I have discovered in my life comes through prayer and studying my Bible and going with gut level. And I can tell you unequivocally, as a rule, guys, as a rule, and this is a very broad stroke and a strong generalization, but I can pretty much tell you that you really should be living in a position right now that you should not believe anything that you hear. Right? It's just, if I had to give a life lesson to any, graduating class in high school right now, like if they want me to come give a commencement speech and we're going to kick all these kids out into the playing field called the world, I would pretty much tell that entire graduating class, don't believe anything you hear in life. It's all propaganda. Do your own homework. Trust your judgment. Trust your intuition. Swim upstream, guys. That's going to create a leadership mentality in you. It's going to create a positive outlook in your life. And it's going to give you the strength that you need to be able to overcome any narrative or any problem that you're facing. Society has become so weak. We have been beat down. We have been victimized. And I would say a large majority of society, if they're not on antidepressants right now or seeing some shrink, we have no steam, none whatsoever. We're just like little birds, and we swallow everything, hook, line, and sinker, that the media is telling us or politicians are telling us. I don't believe none of them. None of them. I don't believe, even if it's an element of truth. And I can tell you right now, in my walk with God, over 42 years I've been walking with Christ. I can tell you right now, that is probably the greatest revelation that I have discovered in the last 6 years. I would say in the last 6 years of my life, the greatest discovery that I have made is that I don't trust or I don't take anything at face value. Nothing. I do my own homework. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Start charting that, guys. Create your own graph. Create your own pie chart. And start paying attention to the information that you're receiving on a regular basis and see if it does not fall into those three categories that they're trying to promote a nocebo effect in your life. They want to beat you down. They want to keep you in debt. And they want to create some psychosis in your life to where they can mass manipulate and control you. That's where society's at right now. I hope that helps. Till next time, think for yourself.